Ladies and gentlemen, I owned a 2013 Audi S5. It was the first year of the B8.5, and right now I own a 2019 Audi S4, which is obviously the B9. I've had a collective 7 years of ownership, so I feel like I'm qualified to make this video and talk to you guys about both platforms, pros, cons for both, and really just kind of make an overview of the B8 and B8.5 platforms. We get a lot of questions about this, a lot of DMs specifically asking, hey, should I get this? I'm looking at this versus this. So I figured I'd just make a comprehensive video and kind of go over everything. If you guys are new to the channel, I make a lot of Audi videos, modifications. We built this car, we built my old S5, we built my buddy's S5. We do a lot of vlogging car stuff and then going to Cars and Coffee and a lot of car events down here in Michigan. So consider subscribing if you like that sort of stuff. Hit the like button for the algorithm. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about the B8.5 first because in chronological order, I feel like it just makes sense. I owned the 2013 S5. It was the first year of the B8.5, and that was absolutely a beautiful platform, beautiful car. I still, to this day, am just missing that old S5, that blue S5. I built my channel around it. We did quite a few modifications and videos and whatnot around that car, and I owned it for 4 years. Throughout my 4 years of ownership, I had basically no issues with the car. Everything that I needed, like repairs on or modification upgrades to, it was my choice. So can't really say anything went wrong on the car. I did warp the rotors because I took it on 2 road rallies. So that, again, was my fault, my doing, but I owned it for 4 years here in Michigan, and it was an absolute beast. I ran it with winter tires in the snow, so it's a very capable car. We built it up to stage 1, about 440 horsepower, and really overall, it was just an absolutely amazing driving experience. Now, the B9 is my current daily driver. I've had this car for just over 2 years. Absolutely admire it, every single thing about it. I cannot say enough good things about this car. I absolutely rave about it. We've built this car up to stage 2. We've done a ton of modifications to this car, and both the car modification videos and playlists are gonna be in the description, gonna be on the screen somewhere. So if you guys wanna check out all the videos, the full builds, they'll be available to you on my channel. Currently, this car's sitting at like 480-ish horsepower. It's on a 034 Motorsport tune, and it's been my daily driver. Again, here in Michigan, it's got a dedicated set of winter wheels and tires. So like I said, 7 years between the two. I'm gonna go over some of the major differences, what you need to build these cars to the stages that I did, and then kind of just an overall pros and cons list, and then my final thoughts. So the B8.5, like I said, we built to stage 1. It was on a Eurodyne ECU and TCU tune. I had an AWE carbon intake on that car, H&R lowering springs, aftermarket wheels, really a basic stage 1 build, so nothing too crazy as far as that car. Had some carbon fiber bits like the spoiler, diffuser. So for stage 2 in the B8.5 platform, which a lot of people end up doing, there are different requirements for the hardware and supporting modifications than there are for the B9. If you want to push power in the B8 or B8.5, you have to do a heat exchanger, an intercooler, upgraded pulley, or dual pulleys. So it is a little bit different, and I will say it's a little bit more difficult than the B9 if you're a DIYer like myself, my friends. So it's something to consider if you're going to be doing it yourself versus taking it to a shop, paying people to do it. It's just one of those things. In the B9, for a stage 2 build, you really just need an intercooler and a downpipe. So I have a catless downpipe. You can get like a sport cat or decat downpipe, whatever people call it. You just want to make sure you pass your state's inspection. Do your research. Get a good cat if you're gonna build a B9 in stage 2, just a heads up. I wanted to give you guys a quick exterior perspective because that's what I wanna go over next. The B8.5 was amazing, absolutely loved it. It does not have these body lines quite like the B9 does. The rear, the front, everything about the B8.5, absolutely love. The B9 is a little bit different, obviously, with this kind of harsh body line that goes all the way across the car into the hood. So it is a little bit of an aesthetic difference if you're really picky. I know some people prefer the B8 and B8.5. It does have a very timeless look. I honestly really like the B9's updated lights. So if I hit the, let's see, lights there, as you can see, it's sequential turn signals. Everything just looks super sleek and modern back here. And then obviously up here we have the sharp looking headlights as well. At the end of the day, it really comes down to preference on the exterior. The interior, I will say, is probably the biggest thing to note as far as the main differences between the B8, B8.5, and B9. There's me, I'm wearing a parka because it's, like I said, just above freezing in Michigan. And let's pop into the interior of the car and hit the auxiliary here. It is gonna power up my dash cam, which I just installed. But as you can see, the cockpit of this car is absolutely fantastic. I will say this is my favorite, probably Audi that I've been in as far as the interior. Excuse the chime there. This specific trim has the carbon fiber interior trim package. don't need that on, as well as equipped with the flat bottom steering wheel. So this interior spec is exactly what I was looking for when I was looking at B9s. Paired with the ibis white exterior, this was just the car I had to have. What I really love about the interior is the fact that we have these buttons here, and if we actually turn on the display, as you can see, I'm just running my finger over them and they kind of let you know that you're touching them on both sides. So super cool, much better than the B8 and B8.5 because it shows the display right on there, makes it really easy for you. And then obviously, like I mentioned, we have the Apple CarPlay integrated. My phone is not plugged in right now. It does not have the wireless CarPlay in this year. I believe that's the B9.5. So you have to have your phone plugged in, but it does have the Apple CarPlay. So you can have your maps up here. You can have it split between like Spotify, your maps, and then like the other apps on the side. And then the dash and display, you can toggle between things here on the left side. Oh, that's how you do that. I just learned something. So you can actually get the map on the left side, which is pretty neat. And then if you have your Bluetooth connected, obviously playing music, it'll pop up there. So the display and the MMI and the B9 is just miles better. I mention that every single time somebody asks me, what is the biggest difference between the B8.5 and B9? And it's the interior every single time. The shifter is a little more ergonomic. You have this selector here for all your MMI settings. And then the seats here, you have a couple different options as far as the seating packages. I obviously have the Alcantara with the diamond stitch pattern, which I absolutely love. It's my favorite spec on the car. Like I said, there are a few main reasons I got this one. That is absolutely one of them. I had a very similar style on my old S5. So it didn't have the diamond stitch in it, but it did have the Alcantara, which now that I've owned 2 cars with Alcantara interior, I feel a bit spoiled. It's one of those things that's just such a luxury to have. Now the B8 and B8.5 do have a little bit different setup over here. You have like one little cup holder that fits a Red Bull, and then another cup holder that's right in front of it. So it's this way versus this way. So a couple key differences here in the interior. And then obviously the steering wheel is not as updated, as modern looking. I will say there is a difference between the B8 steering wheel and setup and the B8.5. The B8.5 is much more updated. That started in 2013. So as far as key differences, that's really it. Obviously with the B9 and B9.5, you have the turbocharged V6. The B8 and B8.5, you have the supercharged V6. So it's really just your preference and how you want to build the car. Right now on the B9 platform, there are people pushing over 700 horsepower with a big turbo and crazy builds. So it's possible on this platform. With the B8 and B8.5 supercharged platform, you can get like 600 horsepower. So when you're doing your research and seeing what kind of car you want to keep in mind your goals for the build. How far do you want to do it? Are you going to be doing it yourself? Are you going to be paying a shop to do it? How much you value the interior and comfort of your car, what features you want, and how you want the exterior body style to look. So that's really it. If you guys have specific questions, please leave them in the comments below. I always encourage you guys sharing and kind of like an open forum discussion. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button for the algorithm. I do all sorts of Audi stuff. And like I said, now having 7 years of ownership between the 2 platforms, I feel like I'm qualified to answer some questions or at least give you a platform to discuss. So thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, we'll see ya.